Welcome. We're going to be learning an advanced level topic for today, but that doesn't mean you have to be advanced level yourself to follow along. I'm going to make this as easy as possible. No matter what your level is, you're going to understand what the form we're doing today is, even if you're not going to be able to use it. Doesn't really matter. You'll still know it. I'm going to make sure of that. It's going to be a fun lesson. So welcome everyone. Who's watching right now? Just leave a hi in the chat so I can know who's there. I see a few people already. Flo Purdy, Aniki, and Paul. Welcome to the three of you in green that I see. Those are my members. Members get a few perks on this channel, as well as you get your name in green. And who doesn't want your name to be green? I do. Paul says, hello, I just fully watched all the ads when joining the stream. That's almost as good as donating, right? Sure. I guess I didn't know there were supposed to be ads for joining the stream. I have ads turned on that will go after the stream is done. So if you watch this stream live, it shouldn't be showing you any ads. That's how I've had it since 2018 when I started these streams. You shouldn't be seeing any ads if you're watching this live. Although when you first join, yeah, it might put an ad on there in the beginning. After it's been up, after the stream ends, then I just let the video go as a regular video, so it'll play ads for it. But yeah, it shouldn't do it live. I don't really want people getting interrupted during my streams. So I specifically have that turned off. In fact, I believe all of my lesson videos have that same thing where I don't put ads in my videos. It costs me a lot of money, I have to admit, but it's just not... I have to do it that way because you're learning a language and you're sitting down and studying, and the last thing you want to see when I'm saying like, and here's the secret to understanding this form, and you're taking your notes and you're like, I'm gonna get it, just one more second, I'm gonna understand this form, and then it's like, Purina dog chow is the cleanest form of food for your pets, you know, like that kind of thing comes up. You're like, I can't interrupt the actual learning, but I do put ads on my regular videos that aren't really like, you know, it's not as essential that you know like what a Korean food tastes like, or that you see exactly what something in Korea looks like, right? So those videos I don't mind. But yeah, for my lesson videos, especially for my free video courses, you're not going to find ads on those for that same reason. I just don't want it. I don't want the ads. While I do need the money, I don't want the ads to be interrupting the usefulness of the lesson. But yeah. Hey, Isabel. Flo says, I'm not advanced, but definitely always learn something every lime stream. I almost said lime stream. That sounds lime stream. Lime stream. That sounds like a cool name. I don't know if anyone's used that yet, but I'm sure someone's already used it now. I've said it. I can't be the first person to think of that. It just sounds really refreshing. Lime stream. Like maybe there's like an alternative rock band named Lime Stream. There should be. I think there should be. Someone should start it if it's not already. Probably already exists. There's like 3 of them. Welcome everyone. Bonnie, hey Bonnie, said, been absent from live streams, but I haven't stopped learning. Okay, nice. A lot of you have been coming to my live streams for a long time, so like I recognize your name right away when I see it. Hey Keith, I see a lot of your comments too. Teresa, or Teresa in Korean. 안녕하세요, welcome. Emily VBR, Aria KM. Try to see if there's other people I recognize in here right away. Sue Amazing. And then a few names that I think I recognize, like Mike, but it could be a different Mike, but I'll say hey anyway. Brenda, welcome. Telepath says, I really enjoy the videos you make with your son. He's so cute. Well, you're in luck because I filmed 4 or 5 more videos with him during this summer, and I'm actually going to be uploading them. You'll see them probably from next month, I think. This is September. Yeah, maybe next month you'll see the first of those, or November at the latest. You'll see the first of those videos coming up. But yeah, I like filming videos with him as well, and he really likes filming videos. So if anyone's wondering, he's not being pressured or even encouraged, I'll say, to be in the videos with me. So it's nothing like that. He legitimately likes being in videos and helping me film. So the thing is, though, I can't have him be in all my videos because he can't teach Korean, and I can't ask him questions about Korean that would be like insightful for Korean learners. So I have to find videos that he can help me with, and it's going to be like videos where we do things together usually. Can you do a series on ATs like how you did for BTS? So yeah, I did a vote. I don't know how many of you noticed, but last month I did a vote on my channel asking what K-pop group, or just Korean musician artists, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, some people don't like the term K-pop, but I guess the ATs would be K-pop, right? What group would you like to see me analyze next? I've done BTS, I've done TXT, I've done several groups, and ATs won that vote. So I don't know when I'll do it, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it. I just don't know when it's going to be. But if I can do another one, I think it would be ATs. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they did win the vote. I just don't know anything about them yet. I haven't started researching. Billy, what is the Eumyeol form? Yes, I do have live streams about Eumyeol. There are, so there are a couple of those forms, but actually, let me think if how many I would need. There are actually 3 Eumyeol forms. Yes, there's one which is simply a shortened version of Byeon Seo, like while doing something. There's one that means like and, which is used for connecting things together. And then there's another one that's used for quoting. And now they are all the same form technically, but they have different uses. The quoting one is like for repeating something back that you have heard, like, hey, I thought you said this. And I have live streams and lessons about all of those 3. So you can just search for Eumyeol on my channel or in the Google document I have. Let me post it here. Hold on. I have a Google document, Google document, which has every live stream I've ever done and every topic. So you can search that. Yeah, it's posted in the chat right below, so check that out. You can just do Control F and search for any topic you want. I've probably done a live stream about it. If I haven't done a live stream about it, I have definitely done a lesson on my channel about it. If I haven't done a lesson about it on my channel, just go to Google and type Go Billy Korean and then the topic, and you'll see something about it. At this point, I'm like, what things do I need to teach that are grammar points? Because I have covered like everything. In fact, the stuff I'm doing like in the vote you see right now for the topics for live streams, this topic is one you're likely never going to use until you get to a fully advanced level. This is not a common topic. Not to say you can't find lessons about this online. There are some lessons, but the lessons that I found on this topic online, there were some in English that I found. I won't say which ones, but they were actually wrong. They were not taught correctly. Like they taught incorrect information about it. And then I found a few that were in Korean that were correct. But this is something that you're not going to need it until you're actually already fully fluent in the language. I'll say that, fully fluent. This is one that you'll need to understand. I've never used this form when speaking, but I've heard this form quite a bit. I've seen this form quite a bit. So it's not rare, but it's definitely not one of the daily forms that you're going to want to practice and use. So even though it's an advanced form, though, I'm going to make it really simple. So you're still going to be able to understand it if you see it. Just know that. You don't need to be an advanced level to learn any grammar form in Korean. Pretty much any grammar form in Korean you can learn as a beginner, but you wouldn't want to practice it and study it too much because you could use your time for better things. If you're like, say, a brand new beginner and you just learned the alphabet, I mean, I'll teach you how to use this form, but you probably won't need it until later. But fortunately, this form is super simple. So there is the only thing difficult about this form, I'll say, is remembering when you can use an alternative version of it, which has some specific use cases, as well as a why that happens. So I'm going to teach you all of that today. You're going to learn how to use this form, what it's used for, a really basic explanation of it, as well as a common alternate version, when that alternate version is used, and why it's used. So you're going to fully understand this form no matter what your level is today. ATs is my favorite K-pop group, says Isabel Santana. I wasn't saying that. Isabel says that. Not that I don't dislike them. I actually don't know any of their songs. Or do I? That's the question. Do I? Do I already know any of their songs? If they're like extremely famous in Korea, I probably have heard their songs before, but I was actually, someone said this to me. Someone said they're not that big in Korea. So I'm not sure if that's true or if it was just that person's opinion, but someone had said to me that, oh yeah, ATs, they're not that big in Korea, but they're big overseas. Is that accurate? Are they mostly like outside of Korea for like non-Korean speaking fans? Or is it like, you know, really big in Korea, but among a certain age group? Anyway, yeah, I haven't started researching anything about them yet. So if I can end up doing that series, though, it wouldn't be soon anyway. It wouldn't be for several months because I still have to finish the videos that I did while I was in Korea, which I'm editing right now. Hello from Croatia. Welcome. Teleposse says, it's my first time in your live stream. Welcome. Yeah, if you search for it in the Google document, you should find it. Just search myo in case you can't find it with or parentheses or anything. Just search myo, you'll definitely find it. Because I have taught it before. I definitely taught it in one of the lessons about quoting forms where I also taught 다myo as well, which is the same form just stuck onto the end of a quoting form. 한국어를 좋아하기 때문에 한국어를 배우고 싶습니다. Nice, JK. Sydney says, I like EXO because I'm old. Yeah, they are old too, okay? Sorry, they're very old now. Is there a memorable grammatical context difference between this form versus 건데? They're complete. I was trying to get my hat to fly off, but it didn't. They're completely unrelated. For anyone that's wondering, this isn't even part of the lesson, but 건데 is not 건데 that we're learning today. This 건데 is a combination of 것 plus 이다 plus the 대 form. 대 meaning like and or but for connecting things together, like presenting information. So it becomes, 것 becomes 거, which is a common way that it can be shortened. 이다 becomes 인데 normally, right, with the 대 form. So you get 거인데 short, which 거인데 becomes 건데, which is just a normal way it can shorten. That's a totally different, and it can be 건데요 if you're being polite, because 대요 can also be there. 대요, 건데요. That's 100% unrelated. This is just a shortened version of 것이다, 것인데. And you can say 것인데 or 건데. It's the exact same thing. That's not the form we're learning today. If you thought that was the form we're learning today, I have lessons about the 대 form. Like, not exaggerating, I have like a dozen different videos that cover the 대 form. It's really easy to learn. If you want to learn it, I recommend my most recent live stream, which I think was a couple years ago, maybe 2022, 2021 at the earliest. And I go into just completely covering the 대 form, all of its uses, exactly how it feels. And once you watch that video, you're going to be like a master of the 대 form. There really isn't that much to it. It's just more of a feeling that you have to understand. But yeah, the form we're learning today is not that. But the form we're learning today is actually much simpler to make. Mike is now Mike E. And I have a custom profile image. Okay, well, I'll be able to recognize you more easily than Mike. Although I did still recognize Mike with no profile image. It was just kind of, very specific. Your real hair looks shorter. Moving on. Mary Laura says, is there an actual difference between 습관 and 버릇? Yeah, 버릇 is like typically associated with it means like habit. Like you can say a habit is good, right? But typically when you say someone has a habit of doing something, you're talking about something negative. And that's 버릇. 버릇, they even have the expression 세살적 버릇 여든까지 간다, which is like old habits die hard. Literally, it's habits from 3 years old go till 80. 여든, oh, yeah. I was like, 여든, because you don't use the numbers for the pure Korean numbers for the tens all the way up to there, except for age. But yeah, goes up to 80. So it's like your little habits as a kid follow you until you're old. But yeah. And 습관 is more of just any sort of like custom to do something. Like it's common to do something. It's a habit of doing something. Oh, I can't help but doing that. I have a 습관 of doing that. Can you speak any other Englishes other than English and Korean? I can barely speak Korean, okay? Can barely speak English. No, I can handle myself in Japanese, but it's not like proficient. I know some people have asked me if I'm going to start like Go Billy Japanese. The answer is, I won't say never, but the answer is right now, never. No intention, no ability to do something like that. I did French for 4 years of high school, all 4 years of high school, and like 2 years in college almost. So like, can't speak French though. I've done Mandarin Chinese and Cantonese for about 3 months separately. And I don't remember very much of those at all now. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent. And I'm kind of putting sentences together in English as we speak. So where is everyone in their Korean learning today? Because we're having an advanced lesson today, but like I said, I'll make it accessible for all levels. But where is everyone in their Korean learning? What sort of things do you struggle with in Korean? What things make it difficult for you? While you're answering that, I'm going to throw a link to my Discord channel into the chat. Check out my Discord channel. It's a free, really free. I'm just advertising it because I want to make sure it stays active. It's a free channel for interacting with other Korean learners. I'm in there as well. I post stuff there sometimes. And I posted a cake last Sunday. A lot of you donated so that I could get a cake because I really wanted to eat cake. So my wife and I, we went to the supermarket. We're going to buy a cake. So I'm like, I really wanted a carrot cake. I really wanted a nice slice of carrot cake. So you go to the store, they have carrot cake, of course, but it's like one little tiny slice for $4. And like, I don't mean like, it's a big slice. It was like, I could eat it in like 2 big bites. And on top of it, it didn't really look that great. It was like, thin cream at the top, nothing in it. It was just plain carrot cake. And then they had, full-size carrot cake as well, like some that have raisins in it. I'm like, I don't want raisin carrot cake. I don't want this weak carrot cake. I want like a real carrot cake where you go to like a cafe that's like $12 per slice of carrot cake. Like I wanted that. And it has like pecans in it and it's like fresh carrots and lots of cream and like a carrot drawn on top and a different color of the frosting. You know what I'm talking about, like a real carrot cake. So they don't sell that unless you want to pay like, tons and tons of money and you want to get some custom cake made. So I'm like, I want a pecan, like a high quality fresh carrot cake with like double layer, thick frosting, no filler, no walnuts, no raisins, none of that. No, like not overly sweet, right? So we just bought ingredients. We bought probably spent more on the ingredients than if we just bought a cake, but regardless, it came out amazing. My wife made it, not me. And I put a picture of it in the Discord channel, so you can check that out as well. So thank you everyone who donated last week. It became a delicious carrot cake, and there's still actually one slice left, like maybe this big, in my refrigerator. And we easily just devoured that whole thing. It was so good. And I gained, as a result, I think I gained 1 pound in the past week. So I'm like, I better be careful what I'm eating in the evening time now, because I was eating it for dinner every single day. I was eating it as like a dessert after eating at dinner every single day, just because we had too much of it. Okay, I'm just reading some of the comments you guys are saying. I can read, write, just start to have conversations. Nice. Currently struggling with understanding Koreans. Okay. Connecting sentences, remembering words. Yeah, vocabulary is going to be a lifelong journey. Stonefire has a good carrot cake. Interesting. I've been there before a few times. It's never impressed me before, Stonefire Grill. But I never tried their carrot cake. Maybe they have really good desserts. Like, it's good though. It's good. I won't say it's bad or anything. It's good. It just didn't impress me like, wow, that's good barbecue. If I wanted good barbecue, okay, there's a restaurant in San Diego. Anyone who's been to San Diego will verify this. There's a restaurant called Phil's Barbecue in San Diego. That is the best barbecue I've had in my life. Now, I'm sure if you're from Texas, you've got better barbecue than we have here at Phil's Barbecue, but it's hard to imagine how it could be better than that, other than if you have more quantity, I think. But that was the best, like by far. I've had a lot of barbecue in my life, and I went there and I'm like, where has this been all my life? Like all the barbecue I've had up to that point has been like a lower level. And then I try this, I'm like, what is this? Where did this come from? Anyway, anyone from San Diego will know exactly what I'm talking about, where it is. Natalie said, did your son like the carrot cake? He did, but he's not a big fan of wet bread, like bang. I said it in English, but you know what I mean. Like bang is anything that's like a pastry or bread. All of that is included in the word bang. So it doesn't just mean bread. It also includes cake. He's not a fan of bread that's kind of wet. So it includes cake. Like he'll eat it and he liked it, but he didn't ask for more. That's kind of his style. So like if he gets something that's like, you know, kind of like moist bread or something like that, like pudding, that sort of thing as well. He's not really a big fan of it, but you know, he will. I think when he gets older, he'll probably like it. But right now he's like, it's okay. Can have basic conversations, understand, listening vocab still need a boost. Really struggle with vocabs that are similar. Yeah. And that will never come from, I mean, I know you're asking the question, which is good, but I'll say that the understanding of that will never come from asking the question and getting the answer. As much as I want to give you a good answer and as much as you want to learn it, that's ultimately not going to be the best way for you to learn the differences. Now you can take notes as well, so you can take notes so you can refer to that later. But the real way you're going to learn the difference between words like that is going to be from yourself hearing them used a lot. Because it's more of a feeling difference. Because when you're trying to translate then in your head, I want to say I have a habit. And then you're going to think of these two words. You're going to think of your notes. Oh, that's right. 버릇 is kind of like used for a bad habit typically. Okay, I'll use 버릇. That extra second it takes you is going to slow you down. Ultimately, you're going to need to have more exposure to Korean so that you know when to use those. Now, the notes, like I said, will help you. Otherwise, you couldn't even get past that block in the first place. They'll help you in the beginning to get past those blocks, but eventually you're going to need to have enough listening resources, enough listening practice so that you can just pull it out on your own by understanding the nuance, because you'll feel, oh, it feels like this one's used in this situation like that. So increase the amount of listening practice that you're doing. We'll get started in just 1 minute. So if anyone's here wondering, where's the lesson, Billy? We always do this. We always goof off. I'm a beginner just about to start conjugating. Okay, cool. Connecting sentences, Korean idioms. Oh yeah, Korean idioms are fun, but you don't need to practice them so much. You can learn idioms. Idioms are something that they just say, they memorize it and say it verbatim, pretty much. You might add like an ending that says like, people say, quote unquote, this idiom. But those are just, you memorize them. They're not even as hard as vocabulary words, except that they're longer, because you don't need to know the nuance of them so much. You just need to know what they mean. Like, what is the literal meaning of this? And what is the connotation of this? Like, what's the meaning of it? And then what's the literal meaning? If you just know that, you can use it in every situation, including like dad jokes. You can understand them when people are being sarcastic, everything. But you just memorize them as is. So for those, I would just say, get yourself like a book for Korean idioms, Korean common expressions, and just memorize it as is in your vocabulary deck. In fact, there are a bunch of them in my vocabulary deck, which you can get on my Patreon page. I just updated it again, I think a couple days ago. But yeah, there are a few hundred in there. And you just memorize them as is. Like this, the end. You just memorize an expression. 호랑이에게 물려가도 정신만 차리면 산다. Like even if you get caught by a tiger, if you just stay focused, you can live, is like an expression for like, when there's a will, there's a way. You can always find a way out of a bad situation. Like that sort of expression. So you just learn the literal meaning and the usage of it, and that's all you need to learn, and then you're done. Now you have a cool idiom that you can never use, but you might hear it. So that's what idioms are for. Okay, we should get started. We should get started with the lesson. You can keep asking questions though during the lesson. I always take them. But now let's get started. So we're going to learn a very advanced form today, and that is 건데. You know what? So these markers, remember how my blue markers all died? I put 4 of them into isopropyl alcohol and let them sit to kind of hopefully bring them back to life. So these are 2 that I have, which I think are back to life. I think I don't know if they're still okay, but it was working when I tried it really quick. So we'll try this pen. Okay. Yeah, it still works. But 2 of them could not be brought back to life. Okay, the way to make this form, you're gonna want to pay attention to this. It's extremely intense. There are like 50 steps you need to remember in order to make this form. So the first step, write this down. The first step is you take an action verb stem. So like hada, you get the stem, which is just you remove ta. Okay, so you get the stem. Next, you add konde. Okay? I forgot the other 48 steps, but I think this is it. That's all you have to do to make this form. And you don't use any other verb stem. You just use this regular verb stem. This never becomes like 했어요, like 했건데 or anything else like that. It's just the plain verb stem of any verb, no exceptions. Doesn't matter what the verb stem ends with. No exceptions, the end. Okay, I'll give you a second to write down because I know I gave you a lot of rules for that. A lot of stuff to remember how to use this form. 뜻이 있는 곳에 길이 있다. You could say that too, but I've never heard that. But yeah, that's another literal translation of the expression. That's actually just the English expression literally translated into Korean, but it's not a Korean expression. They also have another one. 하늘이 무너져도 솟아날 구멍이 있다, or something like that. 하늘이 무너져도 솟아날. I'd have to search again. Now I'm kind of curious. Yeah, that's right. 하늘이 무너져도 솟아날 구멍이 있다. Okay, I was correct. That's another expression for like when there's a will, there's a way, but it's literally though means that even in the most difficult situations, there's a way out. Literally though, like even if the sky is breaking, there's going to be like a cloud coming out there. So every cloud has a silver lining, like that sort of, but it doesn't mean that because that means there's something good in a bad situation. This doesn't really mean that. This means like more there's a way, something you can do about it. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of expressions in Korean. They're all different than English, but okay. 야, 호랑이가 담배를 피우던 시절. 호랑이가 담배를 피우던 시절. So literally the time back when tigers smoked pipes. You only hear this expression in like people saying Korean expressions, like listing Korean expressions. I have heard this expression in real life used once or twice, jokingly, both times. People were jokingly saying it, just like making fun of it because it's like a humorous old expression. You're not going to use it very common, but that's an expression. Like I said, you'll find it in lists of Korean expressions, but it's not commonly used very much. This form is used for one thing. When you are expressing so the speaker's own opinions. Now that can be their thoughts, their wishes, any opinion that they have. Again, it's for the speaker to express their own opinions about something. It's not for you to say someone else's opinions, but it's for your own opinions. So it's used specifically with verbs that are related to expressing this. So any verb that would be used for saying your opinion. Can you think of any verbs? Say down in the chat, write down some verbs in the chat that you can think of that have to do with maybe expressing your thoughts or opinions or wishes. Can you think of any verbs that are related to that? Just let me know. I just want to see what you might come up with. Again, any opinion. You don't have to limit yourself to like the verb thinking. Any opinion. What sort of verbs might you use with this? 것 같다 is not an action verb. Remember, it has to be an action verb. 생각하다, yes. 생각하다 is a very common one. to think. I want to get your brains moving. I want to see what you're thinking of, what other verbs we could use it for. 생각하다. Any other action verbs that you think you could use with this? Again, for your opinion, your thoughts, your wishes, something that you think. Any others? Maddie just Googled. Maddie just Googled to find a few. But yeah, those could work. Although actually I don't think so, because the last two probably wouldn't have come up right on Google. But yes, the first one, 바라건대, would be right. 느낌 is a noun, but you could use the verb 느끼다, to feel. 공부하다 is to study. That is not your opinions or thoughts or wishes. But anyway, yeah, those are some common ones. There are a lot of verbs that can use this form, but I'll write a few down. Actually, I'll write them down and then I'll say them to save time. There are really a lot. Okay, this is by no means a complete list of even the most common verbs you'll see this used with. There are a lot more. 생각하다, to think. 듣다, to hear. 보다, to see. Now this also includes 보다 when it's used as an auxiliary verb, when it's used in the form 보다, like trying something. 느끼다, to feel. 짐작하다, to guess, to estimate something. 원하다, to want. 바라다, to hope for or to wish for. And many, many more. So I'm going to leave this up for just a second so you can write some down, and then I'm going to let you know what this form means. It's also very simple. No, I didn't Google. Haha. Okay. Just because you'd written them with the conde already attached, so I thought you might have. William says, I wouldn't say I'm bad at speaking, but I need more practice with it. That's fine. Sue Amazing says, they're a good way to find listening, like natural listening. Yeah, there are so many ways to find natural Korean listening. I don't have enough yet, but I just started a new series for Korean listening, like natural Korean listening, where I interview people on the streets. You can find it on my channel right now. And but I only have one episode of it so far. So did I upload the second one? Anyway, I filmed a few, but I only uploaded one so far. So I can't really recommend that yet because it's new. But if you just go on YouTube and find any YouTuber who does videos related to a topic that you're interested in, then that's what I would recommend. Something that you're already interested in. Turn off English subtitles. Make sure they don't have English subtitles in their video embedded either. And just watch it. Just enjoy it as it is. Okay. Parada. Hopefully you can. I know it's getting a little light, but that's my pen slowly dying. Okay. I'm just gonna write down the meaning. This pen's also not that great. Hopefully, if it gets any more faded, I'm just gonna switch. Okay. This one's gone. I'm not gonna try to use this one. So this form has the meaning of whatever verb you use it with, saying something like this. I'll tell you what I 생각하다, think. I'll tell you what I 듣다, heard, 보다, see, 느끼다, feel, 짐작하다, guess, 원하다, want, 바라다, wish for or hope for. That's what this form means. When you use this after a verb, remember, an action verb related to expressing your an action verb related to expressing your opinions about something, your thoughts, your wishes for something. It's like saying, I'll tell you what I that. Or what I verb is, what I hear is, what I want is, what I think is, what I feel is, like that. So again, it's used for expressing the speaker's opinions or thoughts or wishes. So that's what it means. The nuance of this form, why anyone would want to use this form when there are other ways you can say this sort of thing. 제가 생각하는 것은, 제가 느낀 거는, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. There are other ways to say this. So when would you want to use this form? Well, it has the nuance that the speaker is confessing something. Like getting a bit serious for a second. Like, hey, I'll tell you what I think. You know, let me tell you what I heard. What I feel is, so it has the nuance of confessing something. That's the nuance of this form. That's why people might choose to use this form. However, it has this nuance. This nuance of confessing something has kind of a serious, like it has an older style of speaking. It feels like someone is speaking an older style a bit. And because of that, this form kind of has a bit of a fancy nuance. Like it sounds like you're being a little bit fancy. Instead of just saying what I think is, it's kind of like saying, well, I will tell you what I think is, and it is, let me tell you what it is that I feel. It has more of a fancy feel to it. It's an older style of speaking, and as a result, it's less common. It's much less common than other forms that you could use to say some of the same things. 제 생각에는 is a more common way of saying what you think, or just expressing things you saw or heard or anything like that. Or if you just want to say something 그렇다고 생각해요, like I think something, that's a more common way than using this form. So this form has more of a fancy feel to it. Okay, a couple other things we still have to go over, but we're almost done with the bulk of the lesson. We still have a bunch of sentences and more stuff I have to explain though. But as far as the basic form, what it means and the nuance, this is it. I'm just going to take a 30-second break, look at the chat before we go on. I just realized I've been using this form with this very meaning, but thinking of it as just another use of konde. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely unrelated to konde. Hey, Andrea! Andrea, thank you. You say for more pens. Oh my goodness. I wish $20 would cover all of my pens, but this can definitely buy me another couple boxes. I have gone through at least, I'll say at least 8 boxes of each color since I started these live streams. It's more than a box a year. So I thank you for that, and let me give you some dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to buy some more pens because I actually don't have any more, or maybe there's one more in the box or the box is empty. Like, I don't think I have any more of these. I do have some more black pens though, which these ones usually have, I have better luck with this color. I guess just because the color's stronger, that these tend to dry out a little bit less. Whereas the blue ones have been about 50-50 chance where they're just dry straight out of the box, brand new. Okay, so I don't have any examples in this lesson, but you might also see this used as konde with another particle added to the end. For example, you might see konde to, like even, I'll tell you that, or what I even think is, or for more emphasis, with the topic marker, 건대는. Like, as for what I think is, it just adds more emphasis. You might see it, but I don't have any examples in, let me check. No, no examples in here, at least there could be in the worksheet, but none in the lesson for today. So you might see this, just know it exists, but you don't need to really use it for yourself because I've never seen it used that way. Just when I was researching for this video, I did find a couple sentences that used it, but it's not a common usage. So yeah, as it is, this form isn't very commonly used anyway. So now I'm going to give you one example sentence. Let me write a little neater because I know not everyone here can read sloppy handwriting, so. So, actually, I'll write the whole sentence. Okay, write the whole sentence here first. So this is really, that's all you need to know about the form. So let me give you an example sentence. Starts out with 개인적으로. 개인적으로 means personally. 개인적 means personal. So 개인적으로 personally, 바라다, to hope for or to wish for. So here we have 바라 is the verb stem, 건대, and we're done. That's all you have to do for conjugating it. So 개인적으로 바라건대. So I'm going to tell you what I wish for or hope for personally. So what I personally wish for is, and then whatever the sentence after is what it is that we are hoping for or wishing for. So here, on the street, 쓰레기통 is trash can. 쓰레기통이 많이, a lot. 생기다 is to appear, as in, I wish. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish the sentence. 생겼으면 좋겠어요. So I wish that a lot of trash cans would appear on the streets is what it literally means. But it's how you say, I wish there were more, as in I wish there would be more trash cans on the streets. So what I personally hope for, or what I personally wish for, is that I hope that, 면 좋겠어요. I hope that there will be more trash cans in the streets. 개인적으로 바라건대 길에 쓰레기통이 많이 생겼으면 좋겠어요. So what I personally hope for is this. I wish that there would be more trash cans on the streets. Okay. 건대. Again, when you see 건대, you can immediately know that it's someone expressing their opinion about something. So up to here, this is my opinion. I'm sorry, from here. From here, this is my opinion. So 개인적으로 바라건대, and then you can write anything you want. What I personally wish for is, and this has an old style of speaking. It sounds a bit fancy, like you're confessing something. Like, well, let me tell you what I personally hope for. And then you say what it is that you personally hope for. Okay, we're not done with this form though. But that is all you need to know in order to use 건대. Just 건대. By itself, 건대. That's it. You're good. I'm just going to leave this up for a second so you can write it down. No, we are not done. Yeah, sophisticated, fancy. But if you use this in your regular Korean conversations and it's not a formal situation or like a serious situation, it sounds pretentious. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of advanced grammar in Korean that if you use it at inappropriate times, it sounds pretentious. So, and it's the same in English. Like, you know, if your friend's asking you, hey, what did you think about the Beetlejuice movie that came out? And you're like, 개인적으로 생각하건대, like what I think about personally is, it sounds like You're just being really like pretentious. Like just say what you thought. Just say it was an acceptable sequel to a movie 35 years later, and they could have done better with fewer callbacks, but you're not mad at it. Okay. Mary Laura. I mean, you can switch any form for another form. You change the nuance, you change the meaning of the sentence. So if you mean like grammatically you can switch it, sure, you can grammatically switch like pretty much any form with another form. You just change the meaning. Because 바라는 건데 is like what I wish for personally is literally, that's what it means. It doesn't have any of the nuance of this. Okay, so we're not done. So that's everything you need to know for just 건데. Really, 100%. You're done, I promise you. But we are not done today because there is not only 건데. There is also 건데. When you are using the verb 하다, for example, in the verb 생각하다 or 짐작하다, or several other verbs that end with 하다, you can shorten 하건데 to 건데. What that means is you simply remove the 하. So when you have the verb 하다, you can see it shortening to 건데. Not always. We'll talk about this. I'm sorry, I have to preface this with not always. Okay, let me actually preface this with something else that will make it even easier. Because there are actually two more things we have to talk about. 건데 is sometimes 건데 in specific cases. Generally, first of all, if you see a verb that ends with 하다, you can change it to 하건데, right? This can just shorten to 건데 without the 하. So you can get rid of the 하 in many cases. Not all cases, as we'll talk about. But generally, if you see a verb that ends with 하, you can change it to just 건데. So let me give you a couple examples. 생각하다, you would get 생각하건데, or you can just get 생각건데. 짐작하다, 짐작하건데, or you can just get 짐작건데, 짐작건데. That's it. Now it cannot always shorten when it's 하건데 to just 건데, and we're going to talk about why and when, but I just want you to first open your mind to the fact that it can in many cases. There really isn't a way to make this easier. I'm just trying to present it to you in steps because the specific rule for when and why it can't is a little bit complicated. So that's why I'm kind of just getting you ready for just to accept it. So if you see 건데, just know, oh, it's the same form. Okay. Just write down this for now. I'm going to give you two examples of where this happens. I'm going to give you two example sentences. Let's see, how are we on time? Okay, oh, we're actually perfect on time. Okay, 부탁하다 is to request or to ask for something. So here we'd have 부탁하다. 부탁하건대, which is normally what you can do. 부탁하건대. Or you can shorten it to 부탁건대. So what I would request of you is, or what I ask of you is, 여기에, here, 쓰레기를 버리다, to throw away trash. 버리지 말아주세요. So please don't throw away trash here. So what I ask for is to please not throw trash here. 부탁건대 여기에 쓰레기를 버리지 말아주세요. What else? This isn't part of the lesson, but what else could you write after 부탁건대? Can you think of another sentence that you could complete by starting with 부탁건대? 부탁건대 여기에 쓰레기를 버리지 말아주세요. So what I ask for, or what I request for you, is to please not throw away trash here. So please don't throw trash away here. That's what I would request of you. That's what I ask. 부탁건대 여기에 쓰레기를 버리지 말아주세요. Okay, I want you to try to make a sentence ending for this. It can be short. I just want to have you practice it a little bit for your own. So the sentence starts with 부탁건대. 일에 좀 집중하세요. Okay? Small typo there, but it's fine because, you already know how to spell it here. So yeah, please focus on your work. So what I would request of you is please focus on your work. Notice that the sentence ends in a command. You can end the sentence with a command if it's something that you are asking for, right? Though you wouldn't say what I think, let me tell you what I think, and that's please don't throw trash here. It would be an expression, like something that you think, just a regular statement. But since you're requesting something here, you're asking for something here, you can end it with a command. So please don't, in this case. 부탁건대 이 옷을 배려주세요. Okay? 영어 쓰지 말고 한글로 쓰세요. Okay, don't use English and please write it in 한글. 조용히 말해주세요. Please speak quietly. Yes. Mary says, so we would also say 부탁인데. That's, like I said, you can swap this with any other grammar form. You can say, 부탁인데요. Like, hey, I'm just asking you. But that's a different form. You're not expressing your opinion. You're not confessing something to someone. You're simply saying, hey, I have a request. 부탁이다. 부탁인데. This is a request of mine. Could you do this? So it's a different nuance. Meaning is different too, but you can swap it because grammatically you can change any form for another form. The reason someone would pick this is if you want that nuance of sounding a bit fancier and sounding like you're confessing something. Like, hey, well, let me confess something to you. What I really want is like that. If you don't need that nuance, you can swap it to a variety of forms. You can just say, 실례지만, excuse me, but just remove it entirely. 여기 쓰레기를 버리지 말아주세요. There you go. 이렇게 부탁해도 될지 모르겠지만, I don't know if it's okay for me to ask for this, but you can change it for anything you want. Like I said, you just lose the nuance. We missed you. I've been here. I've always been here. But yeah, it's the nuance. That's why a lot of advanced grammar comes down to, like, why would you use this form? Well, you don't need to, because it's an advanced form. It's not used in every single conversation in every sentence, but you would use it if you want a specific nuance. Like in English, when would you want the nuance of saying, I'll tell you what I ask for, or let me tell you what I ask for. Let me tell you what I want. When would you say that in English versus just what I want is? Like, when would you say it? When would you say what I really wish for is versus just saying I wish? Think about that for a second. When would you use the former? Because they both can have, you can use either. They have different meanings, right? Different grammar. But why would you use one over the other? It's nuance. How do you want to sound to other people? Do you want to sound like you're confessing something, like you're being a little bit more serious, that you're speaking a little bit more fancy? Then use the former. But you don't need the former to express your opinion. You don't even need it at all. You can just say, don't do this. I want this. Please do this. Give me, right? Give me orange. Give me rock. You can just say that, and that gets your point across too. No, throw trash, right? That gets the point across. Why use many words when few words do trick? It's just nuance. How do you want to sound to other people? Yeah, speech, a formal request. If you want to sound like you're being serious, you want to sound like you're being a little bit fancy, like you're taking what you're saying seriously. You want the person listening to focus. Like, hey, I'm going to tell you something. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. I'm not just expressing my opinion. I'm like letting you know I'm going to express my opinion. So pay attention, right? It's a different nuance. That's all it is. That's what this form is for nuance. Okay, I have one more example for this. Total will get like, I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 example sentences from this lesson. She'll get a lot of example sentences, but I had to spread them out because we have to learn about konde as well next. The thing is, I think you completely got it. I think you already actually get this form. I think the difficult thing is simply kind of like, why would I use it if I can say this instead? And you're on the right track. Why would you use it if you can say this instead? That's the right way of thinking. Just go a little bit further. And the next step in that thought process is, well, I wouldn't need it. But if I wanted to sound like this, I would use it. And that's kind of where you're going anyway. So yeah, I see your thought process and you're correct. Just take one more step and you'll have the perfect answer for it. Okay, 옷차림. What is 옷차림? It is, well, pretty much just the way that someone is dressed, someone's clothes. Where did I put my pen cap? Where did my pen cap go? Oh, it's on the pen. All right. 옷차림 would be someone's clothing, someone's attire, someone's dress. So 옷차림으로 짐작 is 짐작하다, which is to guess or assume. So 짐작하건대, 짐작건대, same thing. 옷차림으로 짐작하던데, or 옷차림으로 짐작건대, same thing. So let me tell you what I guess or assume, or is there another word? Yeah. From or by their clothing. So by looking at their clothing, what I can assume is 이 사람은, this person is a 고려시대. 고려시대 is the 고려 period. The 고려 period. I'm like totally messing up this English pronunciation. The 고려 period, which was the years, hold on, I think I wrote it down. 918 to 1392. That was the 고려 dynasty. So 고려시대 사람, a person from the 고려 dynasty, they are. So what I assume from their dress or from their clothing is that this person is someone from the 고려 dynasty. So this might be like an archaeologist would say this. They're like dusting off the bones and they see like the clothing and everything. And they're like, oh, 옷차림으로 짐작건대 이 사람은 고려시대 사람이네요. So based on what I assume from their dress, the way they're dressed, their clothing, is that this person is someone from the Goryeo dynasty. Again, 짐작건대, because we had 하건대. So it's a personal choice after all. Correct. It's a personal choice. Are there any restrictions for this grammar point regarding if we can only use it in speaking or writing? Nope. Someone wrote 원건대, but that's not correct. 원하다 will actually use 건대. We'll talk about that. 저희 팀을 응원해 주세요. 부탁건대 인내심과 이해 요청드립니다. It's very fancy. I would request some patience and understanding. Yes, that's a very good sentence, Keith. Okay, so we saw that 하건대 can become 건대, but not always. 하건대 can also shorten to something else. 건대. So I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. Bear with me a bit. I'm going to explain exactly why it happens, and then I'm going to explain the actual rule. I don't think you need to know about the why so much. If you just memorize the rule, I think that's going to be good enough, but I'm going to give you both. So first of all, how could 하건대 become 건대? Well, you have to keep something in mind. This letter in Korean is not an H, ever. This never makes an H sound. The only exception is when it's at the beginning of a word and someone's pronouncing it wrong. Like hada, 해요. Koreans don't make an H sound. There is no H. But the only time you even hear this letter is if it's at the very beginning of a word. So let me give you an example. For telephone, 전화. No one will ever say 전화 because it's not an H. This letter is only air. In fact, it is in English. But we add a lot more sound to our H's. We say hello, right? Hello, it's strong. Korean, it's not. It's simply air. This sound is just air. So what do you get when you add, let's do this. What do you get when you add air to the verb? Let's just take the verb hada, right? Hada. That's when it becomes an H. That's when it kind of sounds like an H. Hada, right? Hada. Air, hada. Although I'm saying it a little bit exaggerated for effect. But what about here for telephone? Is it 전화? 전화. It is 전화 if you're saying it slowly, but if you're saying it as one word, 전화. That H, 전화, it goes away because all it ever was is extra air. So why is this important? Well, it might help you with pronouncing the H, but 하건대. Well, let's just say this is extra air here. 건대, 하건대, 건대. This is a normal sound change rule. When you get this letter plus any of the base consonants like hi역, 시역, 디귿, 비읍, they become their strong versions. So you get hi역, right? We don't need to talk about the others. Just focus on here. So if you have a word like for peppermint, 박, it's not ha, 박하. Remember, it's just air, 박하. You get the sound of, naturally, you get the sound of 박하. It's not 박하 desne. It's not Japanese, it's 박하. But if you just say it to yourself, you'll realize why it makes that sound. 박하, 박하, ka, 박하. It naturally makes that sound. The same thing is happening here. This hiat combines with this letter here, and it creates this konde naturally. So when you get 하건대, 건대, it naturally becomes konde. It doesn't, however, in certain cases, as we just saw with those other verbs where it simply becomes konde. And we'll talk about why. So that's the preface to what I'm going to talk about. Let me give you a couple quick examples. Let's do 고민하다 and 원하다. These are really short ones. So 고민하다 is to be concerned, to be worried about something. It's more like you're thinking about what you should do, not like you're stressing about something. So you might 고민 about what you should wear in the morning. 고민 about how you should do your hair. That sort of 고민. Or you're 고민 about what you should do. 고민하건대. Totally fine. But if you want to shorten this, it does not become 고민건대. It becomes 고민 고민건데, 고민건데, 고민컨대. Why? Because that hiat sound, the extra air, combines with this. Again, you might be thinking, why doesn't it in the other cases? And I'll talk about that in a second. But just think about why it does first. 고민컨대, 고민컨대. So you get 고민컨대 as one word. There's no space. 원하건대 is fine, but 하건대, 건대. 원컨대 is what you're left with. This one also becomes 원컨대. Again, no space. 원컨대. You could leave it as 고민하건대 and 원하건대, or you can shorten it to 고민컨대, 원컨대, and it often does get shortened. Okay. So when does it get shortened to conde, and when does it just get shortened to conde? If the final syllable of that word before conde, or conde before that, ends with the consonants kiok, piop, or siot, then it becomes conde, not conde. This is just something you have to write down. So with our examples from before, we had 생각하다 became 생각건데, and 짐작하다 becomes 짐작건데, not conde, but just conde, because both of those ended with this letter. If the last syllable ends in any of these letters, it's going to just shorten to conde. And if it doesn't, it's going to shorten to conde. I'm going to leave this for a second, then we're going to talk about the why. There's one more thing you need to know. There's one more piece to understand the why, of why does it do this. Andrea asks, is it just pronounced as conde or is it spelled that way too? It's spelled this way too. They spell it this way as well. Spelling in Korean, there's rules for spelling in Korean that it has to reflect the pronunciation whenever it's something that's not, whenever it's not something that's intuitive in the sound. Like if you're shortening something and changing the pronunciation, you have to reflect that in the spelling. They're like spelling rules for that. So yeah, they always spell it this way as well. Although I'll say this, write this in your notes as well. Koreans don't know how to do this. So you'll find people writing 원건데 when it should be 원건데. And you'll find people writing 생각건데 all the time, even though it's wrong. It's 생각건데. Okay, well, we're going to talk about why in a second. I just want to let you kind of have some space to breathe for a second. But yeah, this is a clear rule. This is exactly the reason why it happens. Again, the hiat sound is air. Hiat plus konde. Ha konde, ha konde, ha konde. If you even say like konde, it's going to come out as konde because konde is actually just konde plus air. That's literally all it is. That's where all of the strong consonants come from, is just air plus that consonant. And if you say, like for example, pa. Now say it with air before. Pa, pa. You can't not do it. It becomes like a P sound. You can't not do it. That's naturally what happens. So most sound change rules, in fact, almost all sound change rules are intuitive like this. They all come from naturally the way that people would pronounce something when they're trying to say it quickly or without stressing their mouth too much. So this is like one of the most obvious ones, why it happens. But anyway, yeah. So that's why it happens. So then, if this one becomes konde because of that hiat, why did the other ones not become konde? Those also have a hiat in them, right? Yes and no. Let's take a look at this one example again. So again, I said that it doesn't apply for these three, but what about the why? Why? Okay, so we have 생각하건대. So 생각하다, to think. Again, we have 하건대. So you can kind of think of it like as there's air when you're shortening it. The air is still remaining. So why don't we get 생각컨대? Because there is already that rule taking place right here. Remember how I said that this hiat makes sounds stronger? When you say this sound quickly, you are not left with just air here. What you get is this. 생각하건대. 생각하건대. You are using this air in here. It is not left over. There is no air then left to affect this ending. So you're left with, if you want to shorten it, you're left with 생각건대. That's it. You don't get the extra air because it is eaten by any sound like this. These are the ones that you could see at the end of a verb. Any sound like this already has eaten that H sound, that air. That's the reason why it happens, I think. Now, I couldn't confirm this on the internet because no one is not as much of a language geek as me to care to write up why this happens, but this is my best guess as to why it doesn't work with these, because these sounds already would eat that sound. So there is no leftover air to do it. But with other syllables, there is leftover air. Let's do this one. 원하건대 for 원하다. It's left over. This does not eat it because there's nothing that it could do to it. 원하, you just get 원하. You still get the sound. 원하건대, 원건대. So you're left with that air, which then can affect this when you remove it. So that's why it does for some verbs and doesn't for other verbs. You don't really have to memorize exactly which verbs it does and which ones it doesn't. You just have to memorize this because this is the easy shortcut. But I wanted you to know why this sort of thing exists. It's not arbitrary. King Sejong didn't say, let's screw with them and make these ones not do it, and let's make these ones do it. There's no weird rule. It's just basic sound change rules. The sound doesn't exist to infect the next word. I was going to say affect, and I said infect, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call it. Yeah, it does infect to the next sound. When you have these letters, they already take over that air. When you don't have these letters, it's left to affect this sound. So that's my opinion as to why it happens. But again, you only need to memorize this, whether it can become konde or konde. And if you forget, just do hagonde. And you're wrong. I was going to say you're wrong every time. Well, you are wrong because Koreans don't do that. Koreans do shorten it when they can. But technically, you're correct, and that's the best kind of correct. Again, file that under Billy's opinion, but it's my educated opinion, you know? 짐작건데. So what I assume is, this is the reason why. Okay, and in fact, it's not just this. This is, okay, for 1 second, if you're a beginner in here and all that went over your head, then really just like plug your ears for the next like 30 seconds. I have something to say for those of you who understood what I was talking about and want a little bit more. There are a lot of shortened versions of verb endings in Korean that have to do with the verb hada. Like if you have haji, you can see it shortened to chi. Because, again, haji, chi, hage, ke, hago, ko. There are a lot of these shortenings that you'll see in Korean. These also follow that exact same rule, where if you have a verb before it, if you have a syllable before haji or hage or hago or any of these, and there are more, that it will not become chi. It'll instead become chi. As in, nothing really happens except the ha goes away. Ke and ko, just simply shortened. The reason is the exact same thing, I believe. Again, I couldn't find a document that was explaining this, but I'm pretty sure because it makes sense. If there's something before it with these letters already will use that sound, and then you're not left with chi, but you're left with just ji. The H, the ha goes away, but you're not left with chi because it didn't interact with this letter. It already interacted with the previous letter, if at all. So there are other shortenings that you'll see in Korean, and these are not always like this. So if you see haji, you can't always shorten it to chi, and you might be wondering, well, why can't I? It does seem to work with this and this. Maybe I'll just memorize them separately. You can. Or you can also learn it's the same rule. If it already interacts with this, or any other sound, if it's already interacting with the sound, then it can't also interact with the syllable that comes after it. Okay. If you didn't get that, don't worry. I don't think Koreans would get that either. It's just something I noticed as well, that it's sort of a thing in Korean where that the air will interact with whatever it's next to, and if it's already getting taken by something else, then it's leaving it it's not using it again for the syllable coming after that. Okay. Did anyone get that? Did that help anyone? Did that reach anyone? Please. I spend so much time researching for these lessons. Please just tell me you got it. Even if you had no clue what I was talking about, just say like, Billy, that was the thing I needed to speak fluent Korean. Billy, thank you so much. Billy, I've been wondering that for the past 4 years. Billy, my father's last words to me were, please understand this form, and now I get it. Billy, that was the key to the secret magic, the treasure map at the end of the Goonies. Billy, please, please tell me that helped someone. God, I can't do this anymore. Just tell me it was helpful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I taught it. I'm glad I researched it. I almost didn't. Okay. Thank you. Oh God, thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. All right, so let's move on. So I have a couple more sentences, 3 more sentences. So this is a formal sounding expression. This sounds very fancy. 원컨대. Again, 원하건대. 원하건대. 원컨대. 원컨대. So 원하다, to want. So let me tell you what I really want is 제게도. This is 저에게도. So also to me, 가르침 is teachings. 가르침을 주다 is to teach me, to give me teachings, literally. So what I want is for you to teach me as well. As in, like, I want you to enlighten me as well. It has like a fancy feeling. All I want is for you to enlighten me as well. It sounds a bit cringy, but yeah, it's a little bit fancy sounding. 원컨대 제게도 가르침을 주세요. So what I want is for you to please give me your teachings as well. Teach me too, so that I may be enlightened like you, and like me to be enlightened through the teachings of you to me, and me that I may be taught by you teaching me through your teachings. You know what I'm getting at. It kind of feels like that. Okay. Next sentence. Now, this is a verb that you might not expect it to be the verb that it is. This one I recommend learning it separately because it's a shortened version of a different verb you might not think about using yourself. Let me just write the sentence. Oh yeah, this was my favorite sentence from this lesson. 잘못한 게 없다는 거예요. 없다는 거예요. Leave it up here for a second. Hey, Flo! Thank you, Flo. Last time it was cake, and I had the best cake I've had in years. This time it's pens. I'm gonna order some nice new pens as soon as I think this might be the last one. I'll have to check, but I can't check right now. There's either like one left or the box is empty now. Thank you so much, Flo. Let me give you 10 dabs as well. You get pens and dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna buy $30 worth of pens, which will get me like, I mean, I'm only gonna get like 3 boxes probably because I don't want to get too many. They're gonna dry. But yeah, I do need to get more, definitely more blue pens. Maybe I should get another color. Is there another color pen that I should get? I don't want to get red because typically Koreans don't use red for writing, especially for like writing names and such. Is there another color? I can't really get green because it'll become invisible. Although if I don't use a green screen, which I don't have to, if I don't use a green screen, then green would work fine. Change my life for the better. Oh, I'm glad. Okay. Spice Girls song. So yeah, Spice Girls would have started their song with one conde, 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 something like that, right? Exactly. Okay, so 요 conde. Now this is not 요하다. This is a shortened. Well, it is. This 요하다 is shortened from 요약하다, which is the word for to summarize something. So, 요컨대, 요하건대, 요컨대 is in short. Or, I'll tell you what I'll summarize for you, literally, or what I will summarize is, let me summarize it for you. 요컨대 is in short. So it has a bit of a formal feel, not formal, so it has a bit of a fancy feel. In short, 철수는 잘못한 게 없다. 잘못하다 is to make a mistake, to do something wrong. 개 as in 것이, something that 철수 did as a mistake, did wrong. 없다는 거예요. So in short, 철수 did nothing wrong. Yes. In short, 요컨대 철수는 잘못한 게 없다는 거예요. In short, 철수 did nothing wrong. Why does that sound so controversial? 철수 did nothing wrong. It's just a dude. He's just a dude. Like, why is he the butt of all of my jokes? I don't get it. I don't get it either. I don't even understand. I am looking forward though to seeing 철수 in Squid Game season 2, which is going to start broadcasting, I believe, the end of this year. I think they said it's going to be in December, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Orange? Orange could be good. I do have a purple. I usually only use purple. I reserve it for people who are star students. I just say that. I mean, people who are able to support me financially. I save that for donors. So I wouldn't use purple for the lesson usually. Orange could be good. Purple and pink. Pink I think might be hard to see, but orange sounds really good. Okay, so 요컨대 철수는 잘못한 게 없다는 거예요. So in short, 철수 did nothing wrong. Again, you don't have to shorten it to conde, but most of the time when it can be shortened to conde or conde, it will be. So keep that in mind. If you see conde or conde, just don't always pay attention to how they shortened it. Because, like I said, sometimes people do this wrong. Sometimes people will choose the wrong one. But yeah. Here's a really fancy expression. 단언컨대. 없어요. Yeah. 단연컨대. 단연하다 is to assure someone, to promise someone. It has a fancier feeling, like assure. 단연컨대 이 경기는, so this game, 경기 is like a sports game, like a match. 이기다 is to win. 이길 수 없어요. So I assure you that they cannot win this match. 단언컨대 이 경기는 이길 수 없어요. So I assure you that they cannot win this match. 단언컨대. 단언하다. To promise or to assure. I've never used 단언하다 as itself, but you'll see 단언컨대 sometimes. I assure you. It has that feeling. I assure you, like that. Okay. That's the last sentence. Okay. 단언컨대 이 경기는 이길 수 없어요. So I assure you that they cannot win this match. So maybe you're watching a sports game together with someone else and you want to say, oh, I assure you they cannot win this match. And then you're wrong and they lose. Oh no, they win. Anyway. That is it. That is the whole lesson. If you understood conde, even if you didn't understand when to shorten it to conde or conde, as long as you understood what it means and the nuance, you're done. That's it. At least if you are not using it yourself in your sentences, you're going to always understand when someone else uses it. Even if they misuse it, you're always going to understand what they're talking about. That's all there is to this advanced form. So if you understand this form, pat yourself on the back. You now know an advanced level grammar form, like really advanced level. So advanced level, I doubt you will find an English language lesson on the internet outside of this video right here explaining it. Any questions? I'm going to take a quick thumbnail and then I'm going to take questions. You can ask questions about today's lesson. You can ask questions about anything in Korean or Korea or whatever. You want to know what the carrot cake was made of? Any questions you have, feel free to ask. I'm just going to take a quick thumbnail here. I don't know which of those I'm going to use, but I have two options. Okay. And then, oh yeah. Okay, so next Sunday, there is no live stream. We did a live stream last Sunday and we're doing one today. So 2 in a row and then 1 off. And then the next Sunday, we'll go on again for 2 more lessons and then 1 off and then 2 on and off like that. 한국어 선생님은 정말 훌륭하세요. Thank you, Evolving Brain. Hey, Evolving Brain. I like this and I'm using it for now. Yes, use it in all of your sentences. Tell them Billy told you to say it. Say Billy said it's the most casual, slangy, hip expression in all of Korean. The most popular grammar in all of Korean. That you should use it in all your text messages from now on. Just do it. Mary Laura says, could this form ever get used with a rude intention? I mean, I'll throw that question right back. Is expressing something a little bit like fancy, could it come off as rude? Could speaking about something in a fancy, like polite sounding way, could that sort of speaking come off as rude in English? If so, what situations could it? It's the same in Korean. Really quick, I could say, yeah, if you're talking with like a friend about something casual and you want to throw this out and you start suddenly sounding all fancy and everything when they weren't getting serious at all, like it kind of can sound a bit strong. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say rude, but it could be a bit awkward. Typically though, you're not going to use this form very much. Okay, let's see. Can you make sense of where conde comes from? No, it's not from conde as in like a thing I'm going to say. Where it comes from is a good question. Nope, no idea. That would be like asking me where did cult for thing come from? I'm sure maybe I could Google and find out, but no, I don't really have anything to help with that. Because nothing came up right away when I was searching for the etymology. I always try to search for etymology on things when I'm teaching them, but most stuff they don't really know where a lot of stuff came from. They'll know like an old usage of a form from as far back as like 500 years. Typically, you can find information on any word back like 500 years ago. But beyond that, there's no real way to find out because Korean today is like a hodgepodge of several languages that were spoken in Korea from a long time ago, and you're not going to find any information about those. Like, it's very sparse, especially in the Korean language. Is there a Korean equivalent to someone who swears or speaks crudely often, like a potty mouth, or swears like a sailor? I don't know. Can you call someone a 욕쟁이? I just had that thought pop up in my head. Can I say 욕쟁이? Let me think. I don't know if this is a thing. Typically, 쟁이 is what you can attach onto, oops. Yeah, okay. Typically, 쟁이 is something, tangi sometimes, but 쟁이 is a suffix you can attach onto a noun, or it's attached onto the end of another part of a word that has a meaning. That means someone negatively who is often doing something. And there are a lot of these words. You can hear 쟁이, you can hear 팽이, but so I was guessing 욕쟁이, and they do show a 욕쟁이. Now, is it common? No. 욕 is just a swear word. 욕쟁이 is just someone who swears a lot, but it's not like really. It's not like potty mouth quite like in English. Neighbor just says a foul mouthed person, a bad mouther. Yeah, it's a word. This is a word, but there might be a better one, like a funnier one, but this one works. That was just a guess, so I got lucky for that. Okay, hey, Evolving Brain! Evolving Brain asked an interesting question. Yes. Yes, it's why I don't recommend people watch my old Learn Korean videos on my channel. First of all, 10 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, Evolving Brain. That goes straight to our pen fund for today because this is my last, I think, one of my last blue pens. The other ones, 4 in a row, were all dead straight out of the box. Yes, several things that I would do when I spoke Korean were Busan dialect style, even though I did not do it on purpose. I tried to correct it a little bit. Like, I did my best when I was living in Busan not to speak any dialect. So I wouldn't I wouldn't study from people who spoke Busan dialect. I knew that they're speaking it. I wouldn't copy the way they said anything. I would always try to copy the way Seoul people would speak, and I would use only Seoul language resources as much as possible. But because I was living in Busan, there's nothing I could do to help it. I ended up adopting some of the ways that they would say things. Now, there are a lot of things I used to do. I stopped doing some. By the time I started my YouTube channel, most of my habits for Busan were gone, but I still had a little bit left. One of them was pronouncing the double siot letter, because in Busan, you can just say this and this the same way. They're not that picky if you're saying like 살 for like flesh or like 쌀 for rice. They don't really care. You can just say them both as 쌀, 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 쌀. They don't really care. They're more lazy in their pronunciation. Not a negative thing, just that's the pronunciation over there is more lax, more relaxed. They also let their sounds blend together more than in other places. Whereas in Seoul, you'd hear someone say this as like 있어요, 있어요, 있어요. Or maybe 있어요 if they're like, kind of a softer way of saying it. But 있어요 is standard. Busan, you can say it as 있어요, or a lot of people just say 있어요, 있어요. It almost like it's almost like 있어요. It's not quite 있어요, but 있어요, 없어요, 없어요. It's like you don't really need to care so much about it. So I was not able to distinguish the two sounds very well. And as a result, I couldn't make them very well unless I like stopped for a second and purposely said it. I learned the sound, but it wouldn't come out unless I was like consciously trying to do it. So I actually had to go back after I started my YouTube channel. I had to go back and like relearn to practice to be able to say that sound more correctly, because like I said, it doesn't really matter in Busan. Some expressions I would say at the time also were like Busan, even though I was purposely trying not to. I didn't know that I was using a Busan style expression or Busan style grammar. But nowadays, no. Nowadays, there's nothing that I still do that's from Busan that I know of. But I was recently in Busan, as well as I went to Daegu, which is not too far from there. And that's a little different than Busan, but kind of similar idea. They use the same category of dialect there. And I remember being there, like having no problem understanding people. It was like I never left, which was kind of funny because, like, you know, people are using strong dialect around me. And normally I'd be like, oh, what's that? I don't know that, if I was in some new area. But because I live there, it's like, oh, yeah, it feels like I'm home again. So it was kind of nice. But yeah, a lot of it I had to undo. Evolving brain. Wait, hold on. First, I'm going to give you your dabs. Then I have to ask you, what is pachinko? I mean, I know the pachinko, the game. Is there like a TV show or something? I know pachinko, like the Japanese gambling game. I actually had a friend who worked at a pachinko parlor in Japan, one of my few Japanese friends. And I remember him telling me he worked at a pachinko parlor. And I could tell, even if he didn't tell me that, because his skin was all like dried and his teeth were all like yellow from all the smoking he had done while working there. They just smell like smoke, like so strong when you walk in. And yeah, but I don't know, is there like a show or something going on? Is it a Korean show? I've never heard of it. Emily VBR says, is this like kopjeng? Yes, kop is like you are 겁이 나다, like you're suddenly getting cold feet, you're getting scared. So same thing, kop is the noun, like cowardice is what I think the literal translation of it. Same thing. Maddie asked a question, said earlier the question came up if like hey 보겠, like 씁니까? 보겠어요? To let's? I mean, you can translate it any way you want. If it fits the mood, if it fits that nuance, you can translate anything any way you want, because Korean doesn't translate to English one-to-one at all. So it's hard to say you can't translate something that way unless it's just really wrong. But I can't think of any situations off the top of my head where you translate it as let's, because it doesn't mean let's literally. But I mean, if it fits in the sentence, sure. Mary says, I work at a Korean company and only use Korean with my colleagues, but I feel I'm a bit slower than them when I speak. Obviously, I work with Korean natives, but I don't feel like my level is quite on their level. Yes, that is very natural. But let me see what else you said. Would there be any solution to match their speed? Korean speaking speed is actually not as fast as you think. The issue is being able to speak full sentences slowly is the same skill as being able to say that exact same sentence more quickly. And I've met many Koreans who speak extremely fast, and I've met Koreans who I speak faster than. So it's just a personal preference. If your voice in English is really fast, like if you speak really quickly, then your Korean speaking is going to be a little faster. My English speaking, I think, is a little faster than average. I'm not like a super, super rapid speaker, but I think on average, I speak a little bit more quickly than other people when I talk. I always notice like other people speaking slower than me. So if you are someone who normally speaks slowly in your own language, I don't think there's going to be a good chance that you're going to be speaking very quickly in Korean. You're probably going to end up having the same speed in Korean as you do in your native language. But if it's a case where I speak really, really fast in English, but I'm slow in Korean, that's just about improving your Korean. You'll get there. But yeah, being not as fast as a native Korean person, unless they are not native Koreans, you're talking about other Korean learners. But still, that will match your speaking in your native language. I speak Korean about the same speed as I speak in English. But I purposely try to slow myself down when I speak in Korean, because when I speak in my regular speed, I make a lot of mistakes in English too. Like I'll fumble over my own words a lot. So I'll do the same thing in Korean. So I try to slow down a little bit just so that I'm more accurate when I'm speaking in Korean. 그럼 그냥 영어로 하던가. Yes. No, Tonga is a different ending that I have. I have a live stream about it. Let me check where that was. Do I not have it? Anyway, I think I must have mentioned it in my live stream about Tonji. Check there. I'll just say check there to see if it's there. If it's not, let me know. I could do a separate live, but I think I already mentioned it in the Tonji live stream. It's a really popular show on Apple TV. Oh, interesting. Apple TV, that's the only thing I know from Apple TV is Severance, which I'm so looking forward to season 2. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's great. So, okay, maybe I could check it out when I get Apple TV in the future. I don't have it right now. I don't pay for any subscription service just because it's expensive. Like 10, 15, 20 bucks a month for something that I don't even have time to watch because by the time I finish my editing, it's already time to go to bed. Let's see. 질문에 답하세요. 질문에 답하세요. To answer to the question. Okay, today it's 5 years since I started studying seriously, taking notes. Thanks for the content. Oh, Ayakata, okay. You changed your name to Cringe. Why did you do that? What's the difference between 빨다 is to suck something and 빨래하다 is to do laundry? They're unrelated. Evolving brain. Evolving brain. Evolving brain, thank you. What is this? Hold on, I'm gonna give you dabs and I gotta see what you wrote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Evolving brain says scone. Okay, scones are something that my wife makes very well. She makes lemon scones that are just they're perfect. They're perfect. Bread pudding is something I've probably only had like once in my entire life. I remember it being very good, but I don't remember what it looked like or what it was made of. Donuts, okay. Hotdog, churro, chocolate chip cookie, brownie. Rate them in your order of preference. Oh, goodness. Okay. If I'm going to take the best version of each, so not like a generic donut, but like the best a donut could be, which is Krispy Kreme, I think. Okay. Churro, chocolate chip cookie. Oh, that's good. This is really hard. At the bottom of the list, I'm going to throw bread pudding. I'm sorry. Bread pudding's good. I remember it being good, but I didn't remember it being like, I need another one. So I'm going to put bread pudding at the bottom, followed by goodness. It has to be hotdog. Hotdog or scone's going to go next. Scone. I'll put scone next. It's very good, but they're dry. Hotdog is very good, but it's not dry. So that's why I put hotdog a little higher. Especially if you get like a shiat, like a seed hotdog. Those are really good. Then I'm going to put churro. No. Yeah, churro's next. Churro's really good, but it's so easy to get dry. As soon as it's sat out for like a few minutes, it's like dry. So if you have a fresh churro and it's like hot and soft on the inside, then yeah, that'll be right there. Followed by a brownie, which is just delicious. If it's not too sweet, if it's too sweet, it's going to the very bottom. But if it's like a perfect brownie, and then chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to say the Subway chocolate chip cookie is the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. The Subway chocolate chip cookies are like just as good as homemade ones. They're so good. Their sandwiches are okay, like C tier, but their cookies are like, those are like mayak. Those are like drugs. And then finally, I'll have to put donut at the top. If you get like a really good Krispy Kreme donut, if you go to Krispy Kreme when the hot and ready sign is flashing and they're making them and they give you a free one while you're waiting in line and it's just like melting in your mouth when you're eating, oh, that's the best. Or if you go to a bakery and they have like a fresh cinnamon roll that just came out of the oven and it's like still gooey. Okay, hey Teresa, I don't know how much you gave me, so hold on 1 second while I Google that. So I know how many dabs to give you. That's like $22. Thank you so much. Actually, I'll just write it and keep it in Korean. That's like $22. Thank you so much. Let me give you 22 dabs and then I'll read your message. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Thank you for amazing 4 years learning Korean with you. Brought me amazing work opportunities since Korean market grows rapidly in my country these years. Oh, that's so cool. That is awesome. You're the best. Thank you so much. 21 dabs. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I had to convert that in my dab converter. Right there with you on Krispy Kreme. Yeah, and if anyone's wondering, Krispy Kreme is in Korea as well. It is not as good as it is in the US for several reasons. The biggest one being Korea used to have Krispy Kreme just like we do in the US, where they would make them at the store. Several years ago, maybe like a decade ago, Korea shut down all of its locations that actually bake them. So there is no Krispy Kreme in Korea where they bake the donuts on site. There used to be. There were a couple. And then now they have factories in Korea. They have a factory. I don't know if they're more than one, but they have at least a factory in Korea that makes the donuts, and then they ship them out to all the Krispy Kreme, and those are the ones that they sell the next day. So when you go to Krispy Kreme in Korea, you're still getting Krispy Kreme donuts, but it's like getting a day old one. Whereas in the US, when you buy them, they're all made on the day. In fact, since they sell so much, you're probably getting the donut just a few hours at most after it was made. Unless it's like some rare one that no one wants, then maybe it was made that morning. But it's always going to be fresh, especially if you get the originals. Those are always like fresh. They're made right that morning, or right while you're waiting in line, right? Like anytime I go there and I get a box of donuts, like I get a box of original, they pull them right off the line. Like they just came out of they're still hot. They put them in the box and then they give you a fresh one. That is impossible in Korea. So you're left with donuts in Korea that are like, they're good, but it's not the fresh, brand new donut you get in the US. And it's a big difference. It's so different that I never go to Krispy Kreme in Korea because it's always a disappointment. Like Krispy Kreme donuts are still good 3-4 days after you buy them. Yes, but they're way better the first day right when they're made. So yeah, that's the difference between the Krispy Kreme in the US and Korea. The other difference is you don't get as much variety over there, but that's not a big deal because it's all about originals and the chocolate cream filled. Those are the best ones for me. Just the chocolate cream filled and then originals. So I don't really mind that they don't have a big selection. But yeah. Subway cookies are the best. Use cake batter to recreate. Okay. Also, you can buy cake batter, not cake batter, sorry. You can buy chocolate chip cookie batter that they sell that's pre-baked. So it's safe to eat raw. So you can buy this. They sell it at like Costco. It's like a 6-pound tub. I don't know. It's just this giant tub full of, it's safe to eat, but it's cookie dough and you can grab it and you can bake it. I'm warning you for your health, do not buy it because you will consume the entire bucket. It is not safe for your health. You will eat the entire bucket because it is so good. Do not buy it. Do not. I'm giving you a warning for your health and safety. Do not buy that. You will eat all of it. But yeah, Subway cookies are so good. Oh man, like I think, I don't know if Subway knows how good their cookies are. For them, they're just like, oh, we'll sell some cookies with our sandwiches. Like, no, cooked in the same ovens as they bake the sandwiches. Something about the ovens, how they cook them really fast, just makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the entire world. They're so good. Even when they're not like fresh, even when they've been sitting out for like the whole day, they are so good. Like kind of slightly crispy, but also slightly soft. Not too sweet. They're just really simple, like nothing fancy about them. They're not thick, not too thin. Anyway, yeah. Was about time. Thank you for your lectures. Yes. Someone, Vahi asks, what started the dabbing? Just, just dabbing on the haters. I don't know. It's just an age appropriate thing for me to be doing. I thought. I'm hip. I'm cool. Flo says I have to get donuts after class. Yeah, if they're fresh. What I like to do, and when I go to a bakery, I'll ask the person working there what just came out of the oven. Like, what's your freshest donuts that came out? Because they'll usually tell you, they're like, oh, we just filled up the, this one or whatever. Get that. It doesn't really matter so much what it is. Like, if I have like a fresh maple bar or a fresh twist or a fresh, like a plain, donut with just frosting on it or whatever, doesn't matter. Whatever is the freshest is usually going to be the best at a donut store. And it's always fun, like trying different things. So yeah, there's also there's a donut place at Farmer's Market here in LA that I go to at least once a month. And they also do lots of donut sales. So they make them fresh all the time. And they have like the best cinnamon roll I've ever had. And every time I go there, I always get the cinnamon roll. It's always really good. It's just like hot and gooey and big and cinnamony, but not too sweet. Oh, it smells so good. You can just smell it like while walking from like 20 feet away. Evolving Brain. Evolving Brain is single-handedly funding. I don't know what I'm going to eat tonight, but whatever I eat tonight, maybe I'll get some donuts too. Tell us about your exercise routines in Korea. Oh, in Korean. 제가 운동을 어떻게 하는지 알려달라고요? 저는 운동은 딱히 안 해요. 네, 저는 운동을 잘 안 하고요. 대신 뭐를 하냐면, 맛있는 거를 먹어요. 맛있는 거 먹기 운동을 해요. 네. 쉬는 운동을 해요. 숨쉬기 운동. 둘, 셋, 넷. 밥 먹으면서 한 입 먹고 한 번 쉬고 숨 쉬고 한 번 먹고 한 입 먹고 한 번 숨 쉬고 그런 식으로 하거든요. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. If they get old, you have to put them back in the oven for the... Does that make donuts dry? I feel like it's hard to get donuts back to life again, but what I've found is, so if you go to Krispy Kreme, you can't just buy one donut, you buy a box, right? So you buy like a whole dozen, but then you don't want to eat the whole dozen in the first day. You can, but usually you try not to. So what you can do actually is you can freeze them. So I found that not all of the Krispy Kreme donuts work, but the original ones work really well. You take them and you put them in a single layer in a Ziploc bag. So just put them into a Ziploc bag flat, put like 6 or whatever, put them in your freezer, let them freeze. They'll be okay for like at least a month or two, maybe like a month. And then the way you reheat them is you take them frozen, put them on a plate in the microwave for like 10 seconds. Don't do like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, like 10 seconds, really. Maybe 12, but keep it really low. Like if you have a full power microwave, like 10 seconds, just so it barely gets warm, and then eat it and it'll taste almost as good as like fresh. And you can keep them that way for several weeks, but don't leave them in there for like 3 months, 4 months. They'll start to not taste as good, but at least for a few weeks, they'll taste just as good. The dabbing helps me fit in with the youngins. Yeah, I'm just trying to be hip, cool, as they say, the kids say, slammin' and jammin' and hip hop and cool, yo. I'm gonna yeet some truths at all ya. So it's just my way of staying cool, by dabbing. I had studied the form tonji a few days ago with the live stream. I didn't remember the tonga. Did I not mention tonga? I would be surprised if I've never mentioned it before. Let me check. I feel like I would have taught it before. I'm just gonna search my folder real quick and see if I have something where I mentioned it. I don't see any mention of it. Maybe I can add it as a live stream topic. What do you think? Gotta dust off my note-taking device. Tonga. Though, did I not teach it in the Tonga lesson? Hadenga. Because it is the Tonga form. I guess I didn't really teach it separately before. Maybe I could do a lesson about it. It's kind of a rehash of Tunji, because there's Tunji, Tunga, and Tonga. But I haven't taught it separately, so it wouldn't hurt. But yeah, Tonga is used as a humorous way of just saying, you just go do something. Like, why don't you just, it has a nuance of like, why don't you just freaking do something? It has that nuance, like just dismissing something, like just go do that. Like, I don't care, whatever, just 그냥 영어로 하던가, just like freaking speak English. It has that nuance. You're real rad. Thanks, Z. You're hippin' too. Chatsworth, Friday nights, Truck Fest has a churro guy that makes them fresh. Ooh, fresh churros? That sounds fantastic. Churros are a hit or miss. If you get a churro from like some random dude at like a theme park, those have been sitting around for a while. Like they're okay when they're like, you know, up to an hour old, but you really want them fresh because then they're going to be hot on the inside and like soft. Costco churros are actually pretty good because they make them fresh as well there. But most places it's kind of hard to get a fresh churro. So yeah, that sounds really good. There was actually a churro restaurant I went to in Santa Monica. It was like, I went specifically there all the way to Santa Monica at that day. I was like, when was it? I went there like 10 years ago or whatever. We drove all the way down there just to get churros. It was like a 30-minute drive and then just ate a churro and went back. It was really good though. Chatsworth, not too far. Hello from Bermuda. You're from the Bermuda Triangle? Or Bermuda probably not from the Triangle. Let's see. Yeah, I could add Tonga, but like I said, it's such a short form. It might not be something I do in a live stream. It might be something more for like a Korean FAQ video because teaching it only takes a short amount of time, but I would need to also add some extra information in order to teach it. I would have to like reteach an entire form unrelated from it that I've already taught in order to then say, oh yeah, by the way, this is the same form. So I might instead make it as a separate lesson, like a Korean FAQ or something, but I'll research it. I'll see if there's not anywhere that I talked about it before, but I can't find it when I Googled my notes real quick. Any other topics that I haven't taught that you want me to teach for like a live stream or just in a video? I have some topics coming up that I'm excited to share. Let me see. When do I get to share that? There's one video coming up in my Korean FAQ series I really, really want everyone to watch. It's going to be in the middle of October. It's my favorite Korean FAQ episode. I don't know if it's my favorite ever, but personally, it's my favorite one I made in a couple years. That's coming out the next month in the middle of the month. It's about eel. It's a very simple topic, but it's really cool. Okay, let's close that. Right. Any other questions? Okay. Sorry, I was just closing my calendar. Yeah, any other questions? Let's see. Oh, hey, Evolving Brain. Hey, Evolving Brain. Evolving Brain, are you funding something specifically? Is there something that you're funding for me? 6. Thank you, Evolving Brain. And Evolving Brain asks, what do you have most commonly for dinner? I am trying not to eat a dinner per se, just because it's just too many calories. Like, I'll gain weight just like anyone else if you eat too many calories. I usually like to focus on lunch. So I'll try to have like a decent lunch that's healthy, you know, well-rounded with like vegetables or fruits or, you know, kind of a balance of things. And then dinner will be something small. So it'll be like a bowl of cereal and a piece of fruit is what I'm kind of doing lately. Just like something small, even though I'm hungry. Just because I watch my weight. I'm not like doing, you know, severe dieting or anything like that. I just always watch my weight so that I don't get too high or too low. Because if you watch my channels over the years, you'll see like my weight's not really that different. Like some years I might look thinner and some years I might look a little bigger, but I'm always kind of around the same weight. And that's intentional. I'm trying to keep myself at around the same weight because I don't want to have to buy new clothes. If I get too big, I can't fit in my shirt. It's like uncomfortable. And if I get too thin, well, I just don't look healthy because it just all comes off my face. So yeah, lately I'd say just like cereal or a sandwich. I also like making like just a turkey sandwich, something, just a couple pieces of turkey, a piece of cheese, mustard or mayonnaise or something like that. And that's it. Like I'll have a turkey sandwich and that's my dinner. Or my dinner can be leftovers from whatever we had for lunch. But I always try to keep it small. I don't get like, I don't get a big meal for dinner. I'm funding your next helpings of Subway chocolate chip cookies. Oh no, God, no. That's what I don't need right now. I didn't try though. They have a new, like a foot-long cookie at Subway that's like $5 or something. I didn't try it because their cookies are already perfect for their shape, like the size and everything. I can't imagine that a bigger version would be better. It's just buying more cookies. I would just rather buy 3 cookies instead of a big one for $5. So I haven't tried it. I don't even know if it's good. 138. I don't know my weight in pounds, but I know my weight in kilograms. Let me check. Oh my God. Oh my God. How did you guess? How did you guess my weight, Evolving Brain? That is literally my weight. Okay. Isabel, thank you. Isabel is it was just Evolving Brain. Isabel broke the streak. Thank you so much. Thank you for the class, says Isabel. I've got 20 dabs for you. And I'm still taking questions if anyone has questions about Korean or anything. Now's a good time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Oops. Okay. Thank you, Isabel. Got a lot for my 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 pen fund, which is, I think my pen fund is fully funded. I mean, $30, that's enough to buy a lot of pens because the pen box is like, it's less than $10 a box. And I usually buy just like 2 or 3 boxes at a time. And then now we're going for the Subway cookie fund. Those cookies are like $1 each. $2, you get a free one if you answer a survey. But I always get them. I always get Subway, except when I got Jersey Mike's the other day because they give you a free Subway, not free Subway, they give you a free Subway. They give you a free sandwich for your birthday. And personally, I think Jersey Mike's tastes better than Subway. The problem is Jersey Mike's is much more expensive than Subway and you can't get coupons for it like you can for Subway. So I usually don't get it, but yesterday I did because we had that. I'm still struggling with tende, tenika, tendeu. Which meaning of nuance should I prioritize to learn and understand first? Sorry, not de. That's tende. Hey, so tenika and tende are both the same form, just with a different ending. If you want the The tende is just with the te form, so you connect it with something, just like you would with te form. If the te part is confusing, learn that separately. As well as tenika. It's literally just this form plus nika, which is because. So if you're struggling with that, learn that form. But the te part is the important part. It's for making an assumption, but an easier way to think of it is kind of like saying you must be something, like, oh, that must be whatever. But it's really like saying, I'm sure. Like, oh, I'm certain, I'm sure that it must be, right? I'm sure. It's for making an assumption, like something you're confident about. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. 괜찮을 텐데, something like that. 없을 텐데, I'm sure there won't be. 문제 없을 텐데, I'm sure there won't be a problem. I'm sure is how you can translate it in your head. But then the te is if you're using it as the te form, and nika is if you're using it as a connector to say because I'm sure, like I'm sure something. So because I'm sure of that, do this. Or I'm sure of something tende, but like that. And I have a whole lesson about that. I have live streams about that. It's also in my new Korean conversation course. I recommend checking that out as well. You'll get a lot of conversational grammar from there. And it's also a free course. When taking an italki free talking class, do you have any tips to make the most of the time? Something to guide the teacher to help have a useful yet challenging session. Yes. Have the teacher prepare to talk about a topic. That's the best, because nothing's more hard than trying to come up with what to talk about randomly. Like if there's just silence, like if the teacher says, oh, okay, 한국말 연습하고 싶다면서요. Like, I heard you want to speak Korean. 네, 네, 연습하세요. 연습하셔도 돼요. 한국말 하셔도 돼요. You can speak Korean. Yeah, you can practice. Yeah, go ahead and say something in Korean. That's so hard to do. It's like, what do you say? Like if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I heard you're learning Korean. Can you say some Korean for me? It's like, what do you say? It feels like that for the entire session. Tell the teacher you want to talk about something. Ask the teacher to prepare a topic to talk about that they are interested in. Have them tell you something they're interested in and talk with you about it. So for me, when I did some Korean tutoring on a specific video I was making about tutoring. So I did some tutoring to research for that. And I told the teacher at the time, I'm interested in some Korean history, but something fun, I think is what I said. So they prepared a reading passage about King Sejong, and we read that together and then talked about it. And it was easy to have a conversation. So you don't have to like think, oh, what do I talk about now? What should I say? It's like, you already know what you're talking about. You're talking about this passage. And that sort of conversation is more realistic anyway. If you have a friend in Korea, you're never just going to be like, oh, what do we talk about now? It's always like you're talking about what you're already doing or what's already going on. So I would just tell them to prepare something. Tell them, hey, bring something that we can talk about. Like depending on your Korean level, if you're at a conversational level, do that. If you're not yet at a conversational level, I would say have them prepare a conversation about something simple. Just have them prepare the conversation and have them lead the conversation. Don't be like, let's just have free talking, because then, like I said, it'll end up with the teacher asking you a bunch of questions that you don't really know what to say. It's better if they have something they're talking about that you can kind of chime in and give your opinion on. Teresa says, which city in Korea would you recommend for someone who visits Korea for the second time? So if you've, not counting Seoul, Busan, Daegu, Gyeongju, Jeju-do. Well, you just took out all the wind from my sails. Second time, I wouldn't recommend those places. I mean, I recommend maybe Jeju-do for the second time. What city? Can I say I really liked Daegu? I like a lot of cities, but I really was impressed by Daegu the last time I went there. I went there twice. It felt like Busan, but it was different enough for me that it felt like a totally different place. It's like right next to Busan, but it felt so different. And I liked that all the food was different. I liked that they had a slightly different sort of culture. Like it felt different. It felt different enough from Busan for me. So I like that. Another city I really like, and I'm there every time I go to Korea, is the city of Suwon. Suwon is great. It's right outside of Seoul, so you can still get to Seoul anywhere in Seoul in the same amount of time as you could if you're staying in Seoul, which is funny. With some exceptions. Like if you want to go to Gangnam and you're staying in Seoul, it could take you an hour to get there, but it also takes you like 45 minutes from Suwon. So it depends on where you are. It's not really that farther from Seoul, even though it is technically like up to an hour bus ride, because a lot of buses will go directly from Suwon to areas in Seoul that are really popular. So it might not feel that much different. But the benefit of Suwon is just that you're in a city that's much quieter and less busy and less stressful. But it has pretty much all the same stuff that Seoul has, minus the people you're going to meet in Seoul. But it's kind of cool. I mean, you can see Suwon Fortress, which is really nice. It has a lot of like nature areas, lots of big parks. I like it. I like the feeling of it. Like I said, it's just a less crowded version of Seoul. What is your favorite holiday? Oh, goodness. My favorite holiday. I'd have to say Christmas. I have to say Christmas is my favorite holiday because you get, like, I just like the feeling of Christmas. It's not even like a religious reason. I just like the feeling of Christmas. I like Christmas movies, right? Muppet Christmas Carol is one of my favorite movies. I really like Jingle All the Way, believe it or not. I think it's a really fun Christmas movie. There's just a lot of Home Alone, of course, which is kind of a Christmas movie. It's like half of the movie is Christmas and the other, it's just like based around Christmas. But anyway, I still like it. Although there are a lot of cool Christmas movies, like, just feel good movies. I just like the feeling around Christmas time of like the concept of like, let's just help other people right now. Kind of that sort of feeling I really like. So I'd have to say Christmas. Other holidays I like are any holiday where my kid doesn't have school so we can hang out and go somewhere. Those are good too. But yeah, other than that, I don't really pay too much attention to holidays. Do birthdays count? I guess. Yeah, take care, Emily. The first trial lesson I did, she had a list of food questions on a shared screen and we went through them casually. Like, what's your favorite food? That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Like, Korean, you can talk about simple questions. So it doesn't have to be like, what are your opinions of the current situation going on? Like, it doesn't have to be something about like the news. Just general questions like I'm asking in my new, the interview series I started, like, where do you like to travel? In the next episode, I think I ask about cars. Like, do you have a car? When do you use a car? Do you think you need a car? Like, really basic questions like that still result in perfectly natural Korean and are really good for practicing no matter what your level is. Because if someone says, do you have a car? You can answer that with the lowest level of Korean possible. You can just say, 네, 있어요. 아니요, 없어요. Like, you can say it really simply like that. And if you have more Korean, you can be like, 지금은 없는데, 2년 전까지는 있었어요. Like, you can make it a little more complicated, or you can go further than that. So yeah, I think just have the teacher prepare some questions. There are actually lists of questions for people who teach English as a second language. You can search for like English second language conversation topics, and you'll find like websites with lists of conversation topics for people who are teaching English as a second language, that they use them for foreign students. You can use those exact same questions. If they don't know what questions to ask, you can send them that list. Be like, hey, let's talk about some of this stuff, but in Korean. You pick what we're going to talk about today. You throw me the questions, like make them do their job. Like, you're paying them money. They're not free. You're paying them money to teach you Korean. So have them bring you some questions, that's something that they can talk about. I love the cold air, the decorations, lights, music. Christmas is just cozy. Oh, how did I forget this? Charlie Brown Christmas. Fantastic. Amazing music. It's one of my favorite soundtracks, and we listen to it every year. I have it on CD. I still have CDs. Yeah, it's great. Sinbad and Arnold. Yeah. Put the cookie down. Yeah, I love that movie. It's so heartfelt. And I know a lot of people hate that movie because they think that the movie is glorifying material possessions on Christmas. And when it is doing the exact opposite. That movie, it's cheesy. I'm not going to defend it as like a great film or anything like that. It is so dumb. You see like he punches Santa Claus and like situations that don't make any sense, flies around as Turbo Man. But the concept of the movie is that he thinks that if he gets a toy for his kid, that his kid will love him and that he'll have a great Christmas. And the movie is like focused on the fact that that's wrong, that that's not what Christmas is about. But he's just so blind to that. He keeps doing it all the way until the end of the movie. Sorry if I'm spoiling it. The movie came out in the 90s. You should see it. I've seen it like 20, 30 times now and I still like it. But yeah, no, it's a really cool movie. So if you watch it, if you like pay attention and watch it, you'll realize that's supposed to be the message of the movie, is like it's mocking the dad for being so dumb and trying to get the toy when really the kid doesn't care about that. So yeah, but really good movie. I like it. And it's Arnold at his best. Yes. And Phil Hartman's in it. Phil Hartman's fantastic. If you don't know who that is, you should still watch the movie Jingle All the Way. You'll know what I'm talking about. Phil Hartman's great. Yes, Sinbad is great too. Everyone in that movie is great. It's just like everyone's best performances in that movie. Hey, Mike. Mikey. Is it Mike E specifically to be Mikey? Like, hey, Mikey. He likes it like that, Mikey. Or is it just Mike E? Like that's just your last name. Thank you, Mike. I lost count. Yes, thank you again, Mikey. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, says Moonwalker. I don't know. It's set in Christmas, but that's like Iron Man 3 is set during Christmas too. Is Iron Man 3 a Christmas movie? Kind of, I guess. They tried to... It's kind of a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's kind of a Christmas movie. I half agree that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But I think there are other movies that are like... I think the requirement for it to be a Christmas movie is that the message of the movie has something to do with Christmas holiday values, which is like spending time with family, giving gifts to people, not being selfish. Those types of values, I think, are part of what considered Christmas movie values. Not even having to do with religion, just like around the holiday sort of thing. And I don't know if Die Hard has those. It is set around Christmas and he should be spending time with his family, right? But I don't think there's much of it besides that. But I haven't seen the movie in like forever. I watched it on TV once as a kid, so I don't really remember if there were more Christmas stuff in the movie. Do you have a video on shopping at a Korean market? Not really. I bought ramen. If you watch my ramen video, I buy a bunch of ramen at a Korean market, but that's pretty much it. Not sure if you can say it, but would you recommend any italki teachers? I can't. I can't because when I did italki at the time, I booked 4 teachers. One of them, I don't even remember who it was. It was the first one. Of those 3 teachers, I loved 2 of them. I would absolutely recommend the 2 that I had. But the thing is, neither of them are on italki anymore when I checked. One of them specifically said he didn't want to keep doing italki. The other one said she was too busy. They're awesome. I would totally recommend them if they still did italki. The third one was, yeah. I don't want to, if I can't say it, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything. So I won't say anything. I just wouldn't recommend. Last name is Easter Day. Okay. So it is Mike E. All right. Same can be said for The Ref. Definitely not a Christmas movie. Hilariously vulgar. Do you like watching Hallmark Christmas specials? No. But I know someone who does. Like, literally, they're the exact same movie, copy pasted. There's an expression in Korean, pokput, which is poksa and puchida. Oops. Poksa is copy, puchida is paste. Pokput, copy pasted. Um, so they're literally the same stories. What is it? Woman doesn't know if she wants to get married, dating a guy, learns the meaning of Christmas, gets married. Did I just describe every single one of them? I think I did. No, I'm not into Hallmark movies. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I understand why some people would like that, because it's comfort food. Like, why do you watch an action movie? You just want to see character has problem and they get really angry. They do action and destroy everything and they get happy. The end. Like, you don't really care about the ending and the beginning so much. You just want to see the action. You don't really care if it makes sense, as evidenced by all the Fast and Furious movies. You just want to see the beginning and the end. Blah, 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 blah. Family. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's what you want. So yeah, I get it. It's like comfort food for people who like those movies. No, I'm not a Hallmark Christmas special fan. I do like Christmas movies, though. I think there's just something about them in general, but not specifically Hallmark Christmas movies. Yeah, no, sorry. But yeah, it's a little too early, though, to start watching Christmas movies, I think. But yeah, definitely we're going to go for Muppet Christmas Carol. That's a staple, Muppet Christmas Carol. If you've never seen Muppet Christmas Carol, my opinion, that's the best Christmas movie ever made. Like, period. The best Christmas movie ever made. Nothing else gets up to that level. Now, you might argue and say, some people say Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. It's an action movie, so that's fair if you want an action. But I'm not talking about best action movie or best comedy movie. I'm just talking about best Christmas movie. It's Muppet Christmas Carol. Fantastic. Amazing songs. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does get serious. Fabulous movie. Scrooged, it's too irreverent. I like it, but it's too irreverent for what I want for a Christmas movie. I want it to be more like a little bit more like focused on the message, I guess. But yeah, sure. You can have your opinion. Hallmark is Christmas movies 9 months of the year. Yes. Dennis, welcome to the channel. Anyone who's a channel member gets access to special features, like you get to, sometimes I do member only votes. You get to watch these abridged live streams the same night that they go up. So you don't have to wait until Wednesday like everyone else. You can watch them tonight. So after this live stream's over, which should be over in a minute. I should end it. I'll start editing it and it'll be up in like 3 hours from now, and you can watch it today or tomorrow or Tuesday. And everyone else can watch it on Wednesday. So yeah, thank you for everyone who's able to support me by either donating directly or becoming a member or joining my Patreon page or purchasing merchandise or anything like that. Speaking of which, I think I should put that link in there in case anyone's interested in supporting me through merchandise. I do also have a link there. I think that's the right link. We'll find out. Is that right? Yeah, okay, that's right. Keith says, any Halloween plans such as dressing up as a certain Talk to Me in Korean teacher? Is there? Can you dress up as Hyunwoo-sem? Is there a costume for Hyunwoo-sem? What would the costume for Hyunwoo-sem be? It would just be you wear a regular buttoned shirt, no hat, you wear a buttoned shirt, and then maybe you write like ajoshi and stick it on your forehead. Or maybe adze. The short for adze, for like adze gege, for like a dad joke. You'd write adze on your forehead and you'd walk around like this. And then when people say hi, you'd whisper a dad joke in their ear and then you just walk away. That would be my Hyunwoo costume. I don't think there's any other like specific costumes though you can dress up as. Just Deadpool it with a pick. Yeah, no, I'm going to do, I have ideas for a Halloween costume this year. I do, but it's not complete yet. I'm still waiting for one of the items to come in the mail. So I'm trying to do it as thrifty as possible. But I'm still waiting for one of the items to come, and then maybe I'll share it, but I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about it. Cause I normally don't do a Halloween costume just since having, Jeremy, since having our kid, we go out and do trick-or-treating for him, but that's like the only thing we ever go out and do for Halloween. The rest of it is just we sit at our house. So I don't really need a Halloween costume because no one would see it ever. But this year we are going to do something just because why not? But yeah, we're still working on the details. Okay, that's enough for today, unless anyone has any last minute questions. Thank you again so much to everyone who's supporting the stream, all of my members watching, all of you members that have green names. Thank you so much, as well as people who donated today, Andrea Flo, Evolving Brain, Teresa, Isabel, and Mike E. for your support. It really means a lot. It's how I can keep the lights on here. I don't have a, I'm not being sponsored, unfortunately, not yet. I don't have a company that's paying for this. It's all coming out of my own pocket. So your donations literally are paying my electricity bill and insurance and all that stuff so I can keep going. So thank you so much for that. Take care. If you have any other questions, also feel free to send them on my Discord channel, which is again completely free and open. I'll post that again here. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.